Hey there, we're back at the Learn to RV podcast. Tonight is a community spotlight series, and we have Rhea Gibson here, and she's from the Wandering Rocks family. And I'm so excited to have her on and talk about her journey and like where she's come from on this. RV life is full of all sorts of people, and that's what I love so much about it. So hello, Rhea, how are you?
Great. How are you tonight?
Good. So, I'm going to kind of jump right in. So let's start with, what year did you guys launch?
It was October 2024. So we've been at it a little over a year.
That's awesome. What would you say is your favorite part about traveling?
The favorite part, I love the freedom and just kind of being able to curate our lives wherever we want to be. That's probably my favorite right now.
So one of the things that I loved was your name. We all have the name we pick out for ourselves on the road. I was drawn to yours, and this is kind of a funny story. So I actually, 2 years ago for Mother's Day, my husband got me a rock tumbler. And so we collect rocks on the road. So it's kind of like Lucy in the Long, Long Trailer, only we tumble them and then we give them away. We call them magic friend makers. But your story is very different than that. Where did the name the Wandering Rocks family come from?
Yeah, it is kind of twofold, because Wandering Rocks, right? It's just awesome to be able to live this life. But my husband's great grandfather, his name was Cephas, and he went by Rock. His name was Rock Watson, and he was known all over town. And Cephas is, in the Bible, it talks about the church that was built on the, you'll be the rock that the church is built on. You can dig into that a little bit, but his nickname was Rock, and we've just kind of loved that. I mean, we've gone through that name. My husband had an IT business, and he did call that was Rock IT. And I love the name for a child, but we did not use it for any of our kids, like a little Rock or Rocky. But so the Wandering Rocks, it just kind of fit us, and we love the mountains, and it just felt right. So we love it.
That's fantastic. You are traveling as a family, correct, with kids?
Yeah. So we have 4 children.
And how old are they?
Our oldest is 6, and we have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and an 18-month-old.
That's awesome. So you're doing them all together. While they're little, they'll be all the same age. And when they're teenagers, they're kind of going to eat you out of house and home.
We're starting to save for that now. Yes.
I actually have a girlfriend that that's how she intentionally did it, was having all 4 kids within 4 years and having them just grow up super close together in their traveling family. So when you got started, your dynamic's a little bit different. You planned for this for a while, right?
We did. It was probably 2020 when the idea kind of, snuck in, and we started researching it. But we wanted to finish our family back in Wisconsin before we kind of hit the road. And we had a lot of pieces to put together. We needed a remote job. I was still working full time, but my husband needed a remote job. We needed a camper. We needed a truck. We needed all kinds of things. And our last child was born in July of 2024. And we put our house up for sale 4 weeks later. So
that's awesome. I mean, scary, but absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess, some people could do it. Some people couldn't. Our first big trip we took in our fifth wheel, before we were just going on a road trip to visit family, and it was like 1,000 miles, and I was on maternity leave with our 3rd child. So we had a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 6-week-old, and we headed out, never been anywhere in our camper before. We made it back home, so it all worked out.
So do you go home regularly, or is that something you hit seasonally? I mean, you said you came from Wisconsin. Does that mean that's where home is now?
Yeah, my family's there. I lived there my whole life. My husband has lived there the last 25 years. His family, though, is in Kentucky. So we went back last summer for a good part of the summer. We were there about 4 months, but we also went through our storage and kind of resituated some things when we left. We really sold most of our stuff, but we still had a storage unit, and I think we knew once we hit the road and we were doing it, we would know if we were in love with it or not. And so we went home and we visited family, moved our storage unit around, got rid of some more stuff, downsized. I mean, you're always downsizing when you're on the road. And that'll be our plan again, although we won't stay as long. I think 4 months is too long for us to stay in kind of one spot, but we'll wait till it's warmer up there and we'll probably head that way uh, in the spring or early summer.
That's fantastic. So I'm living with littles. I mean, it's got to be a constant busy. I'm a mom of 7 kids and we traveled when my youngest was 15 months old. So I remember well, although it's been a few days cuz he turns 14 next week. I remember well what that busy felt like. What would you say is maybe a challenge that you face on a regular basis that you'd want to give some encouragement to other people about?
You're traveling full time. I call it like we have the slowest chaos in our lives because every day is every moment can be a little chaotic, but we still do move slow. I mean, we kind of move at the pace of the 18-month-old. He still naps. We're still just living life in our camper. We do school, we, go grocery shopping, and I think trying to stay slow. Like sometimes this life is really busy and people feel like pressure to keep moving or keep doing all the things, or now that you're here or there, like you need to go out and see everything. We have days where we just don't go anywhere. We don't do anything. And I mean, many days. So I think, and right now we're in Florida. I mean, you could do something different every day here and see a different attraction and kids play area or whatever, zoo, petting zoos. We went to the orchard. I mean, it's almost nonstop. So I would say the encouragement is to not feel that pressure to, be a tourist and just keep building your life in your home.
Right, because there's laundry days and there's days where you
Mhm.
have to prep cook and there's days that you have to just plan for. So I get
Um,
that. You have a seriously unique journey though, because you didn't just have babies and go on the road. You actually were a foster mom, correct?
we were, yes, we were a foster family.
What did that look like for you, like transitioning into this? Was that hard to make that decision?
To stop being a foster family?
Yeah.
Um, it felt good at the time, but that was part of our wait as well, is kind of closing some ties there. And that took, that was 2020, 2021, 2022. And I think the desire and our dreams for our family, uh, it was time for those to take precedent over, or priority over anything else that was going on. So it was sad. It was sad to give notice and say, we're going to be done fostering. And I still kind of I just had a conversation with a friend of mine about fostering. She had some questions and thought maybe I would do it again. I would do it again if we
Well,
put
and
down
I know
roots. I mean,
actually.
I don't know who's going to let us do it now, but
Right. Well, I know a lot of families that have actually adopted not from the road, but took their adopted children on the road. And I think that's the case for you as well, correct? Are all your kids bio kids or did some of
we've adopted twice, and we've had then 2 kids through
so you have
pregnancy.
your total of 4, it's a blended family in that way. What does that look like on the road for you? Do you feel like there's any differences because of that?
No, no. I mean, it honestly, I mean, rarely crosses my mind, but we do have, our daughter was born in Florida. She has family here, so we, get together with them. It's just another opportunity we take advantage of, is to build those relationships while we're here and see them. And, if we didn't travel, I mean, maybe we would have met up with them once, 2020, but we've really had a time to like build this relationship with some of her family members that are in the area, and it's been great.
Yeah, I had a pastor years and years ago when Frank was still active duty that was in North Carolina and he had 3 daughters and he adopted his sister's daughter. And he talks about how, the Bible talks about adoption and how we as believers are adopted into. And so I just love the beautiful parody of what that looks like in real life. We've known a lot of adoptive families on the road, and it's just such a beautiful connection. And my son, actually, one of his best friends growing up on the road was adopted, and their family traveled with their 3 kids that were all adopted. It's just a neat thing that, you have that a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people that have gotten off the road to be foster parents and adopt again. And so I think that there's a lot of that, that you have to make those decisions for your family.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's definitely a unique style for you guys that, you're doing that. I love that they're all in 6 and under. So, I mean, the next question's kind of crazy, but what does a school day look like for you for road schooling? What does that look like? I remember what it was like for me, and I just
I still, I keep telling myself we're still practicing, although our oldest 2 would be, in kindergarten. And, once you're kind of in the homeschool mindset and you see the benefits of homeschooling and what it can look like, I think it's different for people who are doing it or what they might envision compared to people who, haven't researched homeschooling or don't know what that would look like.
totally.
I have a plan and every day my plan fails, but we do language arts and math and they have a curriculum that I've purchased that I really love and we just walk through it. Some days some days I only get, to maybe my daughter to go through her lessons. They kind of do math together. They're obviously very close in age. So today we did math together while, my 18-month-old slept and we woke up in the morning and I said, go grab some books and we do some reading. We've done it, we go outside, we do science projects with friends. We have like little science kits. So yesterday we did, the dye and the celery, put in the cups of water and they rushed out this morning to check it. So we do all kinds of things. If I know we're going to a park or anything, we went to Gatorland or and so we start researching, we watch videos, we read the books we have about the animals we're going to see and so they kind of have a foundation before they get there and then they can ask like more questions about it. So they love learning. They love animals.
Of course. So my granddaughter was actually born when she traveled with us for 2 years, and so I know how busy littles can be in a household where there is somebody, like, traveling and working. So what do you do
Mhm.
during the day to keep them busy while your husband's working?
So like to keep them away from him.
Well, I don't know that away from him is the right answer. I mean, it depends on the position he has. I mean, like if he's taking calls, I mean, obviously that's different than if he's just working on something in the background. So like, I mean, what does that look like for you guys? Cuz I know, we run a company from our rig. And so some days we're like shh, but for me now the biggest noise factor I have is the dog barking in the background because the teenagers sleep till 11 o'clock every day.
Yep.
So
So actually right now I'm in my husband's truck. We have a Peterbilt semi truck and it has like a toter home built on the back of it. We get a lot of attention for it, a lot of questions. And so every morning at 8 o'clock, he heads outside and comes in his truck. And this is, his setup here. So he gets all the peace and quiet he needs. I usually send him out. I even send him out with the dog, and the dog will spend the day with him out here. And so we really have. There's times like if we've lost for some reason, I can't remember why he had to work inside one time. Maybe the truck didn't fit in our spot. I think this was last year, and he worked. There is room in our bedroom. We have a desk that he can use, and that was hard. That was hard knowing he was up there and having to be quieter. So I really appreciate that we had this truck built so that he could have his own peace and quiet.
that is really cool. So is that your daily driver then?
No, I have a minivan. So he's in the truck and I can do whatever, I can take the kids out, go get groceries. So we do have the 2 vehicles that we do travel with.
Well, that's a blessing and a curse because we actually traveled with a minivan for many years. I remember how much easier it was, like potty breaks, steps like that. So when you travel, do you travel together or do you like let him know, hey, I'm pulling off here to stop at the bathroom? What does that look like for you guys on a travel day with all the littles?
Yeah, we usually do all the kids ride with me. In our truck, we had seats put in. So we have like Sprinter van seats that were put in so we can seat 7 in our truck. We had, we didn't know when we started what it would look like. Ideally, I didn't want to drive another vehicle, but I do not want to go get groceries in this semi truck. So it works out, but we do have seats for everybody so we could ride together. We wanted to keep that option open. I chase, we stick together. I follow him, but I'll stop off to go to the bathroom or one of the kids needed to go to the bathroom. And it depends where we're going. Now that we're kind of, this is our first year that we're in the Thousand Trails system. We did not have a Thousand Trails membership last year. And so we're bouncing between parks and we're familiar with the areas now that we're going over the winter here. So he may just kind of go ahead of me. I might stop off for a coffee and I said, I'll meet you there and he'll work on getting set up. But usually because we have a big rig, and if we're going someplace that we're not familiar with, I mean, we do our due diligence on looking at Google Maps and the driving directions. And we call the campground ahead of time, make sure, we're all set up. But if it's someplace unknown, then I usually stick with them so that when we get there, I can help him if he needs it.
For sure. So is there any campgrounds that you've been to that you've been surprised that you couldn't get into? How big is the
Mm.
camper? I guess I should start by asking that.
Yeah, I think it's 46.5 feet. We have a fifth,
That's a big
and
fifth wheel.
it is. It is. We started with a little smaller one. I think it was like 42 or 43 feet. And we were a month into full time and we bought a new camper. But it works great. I have no regrets. The floor plan is amazing. It suits us much better. But the truck is like 32 feet. And with the fifth wheel, I mean, it's big. It's big.
Do you domicile out of Wisconsin, or do you domicile out of Florida or somewhere
Wisconsin
else?
right now. No, we're still in Wisconsin. I think, we might have to change it at some point, but I feel like we're in a little bit of limbo there and I think we'll figure that step out later, but if we need to change it. But right now it's still in Wisconsin.
That's cool. Okay, so when you picked the truck and trailer, did you like know that this was so do you have a game plan? Like, some people come out on the road and they have like, oh, I'm going to do this for 2 years. What does that look like for you guys? Is there a
Um
plan?
there's a loose plan. I think we're really flexible. Some days we're like, and they're few, but where we're like, how long do we want to do this for? When we started, I thought we could do a year and we got on the road and I know we can do it for a few years and be happy and do it easily. I think our plan is though, like we are looking for land and to move out of Wisconsin. I mean, we sold our house. I guess we've already moved out of Wisconsin, but more where his parents live. We want to be a little bit closer, or his mom. But we like Tennessee, so we're going to go explore Tennessee in the spring. And I mean, I think within the next 2 to 3 years, I think we'll buy some land so we have a place to. And even if the land we're just going to put a concrete slab on it and septic, sewer, and then we can stay there when we want, maybe a few months out of the year, and then travel just to give us some more options, I guess.
Well, that's fun. I mean, our
Yeah,
dynamic's very different. Not everybody can do what we've done. We launched in 13 and this community became my family. And so it was definitely a different dynamic. The thing is, it constantly evolves. And so
mhm,
you have to be okay with that. And so it definitely has its ups and downs because there's going to be years where the people you launched with and made friends with, usually that's between 2 and 4 years, are going to roll off the road. And so, like, learning how to roll with that and then make new friends. And it's kind of a cycle you have to be willing to step in the gap and do it over and over and over again. I was different because Frank was, well, I mean, he's a retired Marine. And so that was my life before we did this. So, like, people that come with a 25-year, that's where they lived their whole life background, it's hard for me to even comprehend that. And then when we went on the road that first year, when we came back, it was very different. Like, my kids like had changed because they had traveled, but the environment around them really hadn't changed. And I feel like the more you travel, the more that tends to happen. And yours are still little, so you're not going to see that so much, but you'll see it with you guys. Like, you and your husband
mhm.
will see it within each other. And so that's just a different perspective. There's no wrong answer to it. Like, having land, doing it however you're going to do it, like whatever works for you. I mean, life on the road is amazing and wonderful and hard all in the
Right.
same breath some days. So, but sometimes you do hard because it's what's right. And sometimes you find that family that you didn't know you needed that was out there all along. I always said it was easier to find friends when my kids were little because I could take them to a playground and it made it much easier to get those connections. How do you find friends on the road for you and your spouse?
Yeah, so in 2024, we had no idea what we were doing. We did all the research, but you still don't know. And we spent the winter among the snowbirds, and the kids were really missing out on friends. And those friends, their friends are the kids they see at the playground. They don't need their phone number, they don't need to know their names. They just want to see kids their own age. and run into them at the playground. So when we went back this summer, we really thought about it and really wanted to put effort into finding more families, and that's why we did get the Thousand Trails membership. And kind of integrated ourselves into an RV life network. I mean, it takes effort. Even when we were in our home, it takes a lot to make friends, to find the families that you like spending time with, and the kids and the parents. And then you get to a homeschool age, and it's easier to have friends that homeschool than don't, because they're not going to school during the week. And you can do other things and do school things with them. So we have met some families. Like, we're in the season now where it's still, where last winter kind of felt a little long, weren't hitting the right spots, where this winter has just been, it's been great. We've met, I mean, a handful of families. We went to a family event not last spring, and we met another family, and our kids are the same age, and everyone has a lot of common interests, and we've been traveling with them this winter. For the most part, usually we've been at the same place, and the kids play every day, and we've been meeting new families, so it's been great. Like, everybody that we've been meeting is like kind of new to traveling within the last year or two. Everyone's got young kids, and I feel like we're in the community building stage right now, and it's been exciting. It's been good for them and for us.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And those magical, like I say, it's never the first. So for my kids, it became not the first time they met that they connected, but a lot of times it was the second or the third time we came back together. Would you say that's true for the family you're traveling with? Or did you hit it off right away? Were you one of the lucky ones?
Right. I think we hit it off right away, I think. And it was the first time, like, we had met a group of families, and then we went and met up with them like a few weeks later. Like, everybody was kind of settling back up north, and we made sure our paths crossed, and we went camping at like a state park, and that kind of, it was probably the second time that kind of solidified it. And then all summer, they kind of asked about them and talked about them, and when are we going to see them again? And so that was nice. Gave the kids something to look forward to, and a sense of community for them too.
For sure. The first family we connected with like that was at a road school rally in Tucson, Arizona in 2014. And we are still friends to this day. And the kids have literally grown up together, and we all still travel. So we are very intentional. The kids all went to prom last year in South Fork, Colorado together. That type of relationship is just so important. And so you're looking at it as littles right now, but like our kids met when like my kids were like 1.5 and theirs was 2. And so they're still good friends. And they're turning 14 and 15. So it's not like, they're not getting older together. So,
Mhm.
and we're all in Florida together, so that's nice too. So we've been able to see them some. All right, so let's tie this up with a bow. I guess I love, just talking to people and hearing their stories. And so let's talk about a few of your adventures. What do those look like on the road for you? Can you think of a time where, you did something you didn't expect to be doing?
Yeah. Last winter, we spent some time in southern Georgia, and we went over to a national monument, and it was the Fort Frederica National Monument, and it was like the best day ever. And it's just this huge park. I took the kids, and they had, a bunch of artifacts, and it was where the British Army was stationed in like the 1700s to stave off the Spanish from invading Georgia or Florida. And it was just the most beautiful day and the most beautiful park. And it's days like that, and when you see things like that, that just, I mean, really add to the experience. The kids don't really get it, quite yet, that they're, or maybe they won't remember it, obviously. But to see these things, it's like, I never would have been able to see this if we hadn't been traveling. And that goes hand in hand with like seeing my husband's family, that, usually we probably saw them once every 18 months. We used our, week or 10 days of vacation to travel down there. We flew one time, or we'd have to rent like an Airbnb. And just being able, we've been through Kentucky to see them. I mean, it's probably been 4 or 5 times now. And our kids get to know their cousins and know, better, and build relationships with their grandparents. Like I said, too, we have other family in Florida. And so our daughter, to build that relationship, we never would have had any of it. Yeah, we never would have had any of it without traveling. So I'm excited for the next year. We still have more things to do and more things to see. I mean, we've been in Florida now for a while, a few months. So I'm kind of getting excited to leave and go see some mountains and go we're going to head out west this summer, and I'm really excited just to kind of add to all these other things that we've seen that it could take a lifetime to see for someone else, and we're getting to experience them all in this, this year.
Well, and the most beautiful part of that, and you said it earlier, is you don't have to do it all at once. And so
Uh-huh.
that's actually one of the things that I love about being on the road and probably why I'm still doing it. Is so there's towns we have favorite restaurants and we go back to them when we go places, but we also always find something new to do, no matter where we are, no matter how many times we've been. Like, I can come to Florida, and I don't come every year. We kind of flip flop, but I mean, I can find new things to do, new places to go, new things to experience. One year we took up kayaking, and so we now carry around kayaks. And so that was when the kids were a little bit older, but then you have to carry around all the other stuffs. I mean, it's one of those things that it's just a beautiful lifestyle. And if you can embrace it, you can find things that make you fall in love with it all over again on a regular basis. So sounds like you've got a great big year planned. Where to this year?
Yeah, we're going to probably in April start heading north, and we're going to go through Tennessee. We're going to spend some time there. We want to explore a couple areas. We'll go visit family in Kentucky and then head towards Wisconsin, spend some time there, and then go out west. And I don't know what we're going to do next winter. I don't even know what we're going to do out west. I'm excited to plan it. Like, I'm a planner. I love planning. I put it off a little bit because I look ahead, and then but I still need now, the next couple spots. So we have everything's kind of solid through April. Um, and I'm good with that. And we'll see what happens next. Like, I think we'll go through the Dakotas, maybe over to Montana, Wyoming. I wanted to go out to Utah, Colorado. There's just too much to see. I kind of realized the other day that maybe I'm taking off too much. Like, I want to, we don't travel, we don't move every week. We like staying put for probably about a month at a time. And it's just like it goes by so fast.
Absolutely. So we follow something that's often called to is the 333 rule. We try not to go more than 300 miles a day. So, and we don't usually, we're not, I have teenagers. We're not on the road at 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. We're pulling out right at 11. And so, I've just accepted my fate in that side. And then we want to be parked before dark. And so as summer comes, we'll drive later. But, ultimately, we don't like doing double drive weekends. We do when we have to. But, I think that there's so much to say for, just experiencing and enjoying the ride, that needs to be a part of kind of everybody's adventure. And with littles, you've got a whole lot of other factors, potty breaks, busy fingers, need snacks, whatever's coming from the back seat.
Right.
So it just keeps it even a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, my
All right.
husband works during the week, so we do only travel a few hours a day on the weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't move very fast. We just don't.
Okay. So if you were to give like your top two tips to somebody that's brand new, what would you tell them?
Be flexible. Like, if they're already
That's a
doing
good
it,
one.
be flexible. Yep. And enjoy it. I mean, there is, like you just said, there enjoy the drive, or there's that cliche of what is it? The journey is not the destination. It's about, the journey. Enjoy today. Enjoy today. Enjoy what you're doing today. Don't look forward too much, and have your heart set on that one thing or your next stop, because you're missing out. You're missing out on what's happening right in front of you or right around you, and just take it all in, and every day is a good day.
Well, thanks, Rhea. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you. And we just want to invite you to like and subscribe. If you're out there listening and you want to be part of the podcast, we do have this community spotlight series. There's only a handful of slots left for season 2. We're just glad that Rhea could join us for this one. Thanks. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Wandering Rocks family. Where can they find you online if they are looking for you?
Yeah, we most everything's on Facebook right now. The Wandering Rocks family on Facebook, or the wanderingrocksfamily.com. We have our website, and we have a blog there with some things talking about getting on the road and some tips for newbies. it's really building, it's becoming a passion of mine just to kind of help people chase their dreams. It might not be selling everything you own and hitting the road, but like do what makes your heart happy. And I'm loving it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.